At this point in the story of Humbert the hungry baby, his appetite's starting to get out of control. He can't stop having milk and he's kind of been left to his own devices by his parents. He poured himself down the stairs and slithered into the kitchen. As the food had been placed out of reach, the baby had to find a way to grab it. First, he tried bouncing. Humbert was perfectly round, but he was just too heavy to become airborne. Next, he reached for a cooking pot to stand on, but he still couldn't reach any food. So the baby pulled over a thick cookbook and placed that on top of the pot. Still, he couldn't reach the food. So he dragged poor Marmalade over by her tail. Meow! Screeched the cat. Humbert placed the cat on top of the pile. He stepped on with his big fleshy foot. Meow! Humbert's eyes widened as he finally saw what he was looking for. Food! Glorious food! The big baby was still standing on top of the cat. As his feet pressed down on the poor creature, she let out a series of loud yelps. It was as if he was playing the bagpipes. Meow, meow. Before long, Humbert had grabbed every can, box and packet of food. Then he began his fantastic feast. First, Humbert ate his own body weight in marshmallows. This is a lot of marshmallows. Then he gobbled down a variety pack of cereals, boxes and all. And next, the big baby set to work on the tinned puddings. Rice pudding, pineapple chunks, chocolate sponge. Being a baby, Humbert didn't know how to use a tin opener, so he ate the tins too. Next, the baby found a large jar of mustard. It smelled funny. Humbert poked his fingers in and grabbed a mouthful. Like most children, Humbert didn't like the taste of mustard at all. He spat it out of his mouth and hurled the jar across the kitchen. A streak of mustard splashed onto the floor. Humbert desperately needed to eat something to take the taste away. The big baby jumped down and looked around the kitchen. There was not a scrap of food left to eat. He had scoffed the lot. The larder was empty. The fridge was empty. Humbert licked the wall to taste the hot mustard off his tongue, but it still tasted off. Poor Marmalade hadn't liked being trodden on one bit and was now curled up in her basket. Marmalade looked back at Humbert. Could he? Should he? Would he? Meow! Yes, he would. The poor cat was gobbled down in one gulp. The next morning, Mother and Father went to the kitchen to make breakfast. As he strode in his pyjamas, Father slipped on the mustard. Ow! He shot across the kitchen floor and ended up covered in the stuff. Whoosh! Oh, you silly man, exclaimed Mother. I didn't leave it there, he protested, vainly trying to rub the mustard off his pyjamas. In fact, I put with everything else on the top shelf, out of reach of you-know-who. Suspicious. Father opened the door of the larder. Once again, there's not a thing left to eat in this house. We are going to starve. The man dashed upstairs to the bedroom, and as usual, Humbert was sprawled out on what used to be his parents' double bed. And after his latest midnight feast, he had expanded during the night. It was now getting too big for the room. Moo! Went the baby. It was so loud the house shook and began to rattle. Out of the baby's mouth came a gigantic orange fur ball. I don't believe it! Shouted Father. He's eaten the cat! Mother rushed upstairs and burst into the room. No! Look! Said Father, indicating the fur ball. Well, silly old Marmalade must have wandered into poor little Humbert's mouth during the night, mused Mother. She wasn't a fly. Marmalade was a cat. A big, furry cat. Burr! It was a bird that could make an ancient city crumble to the ground. Mother and Father had to cling on to each other to make sure they didn't fall over. The naughty